Welcome to the Deep Dive. We've got some really interesting material you sent over, and today we're going to unpack its core message.
That's right. We're looking at this powerful connection between strength, hard work, and success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And specifically how it relates to your journey with C1 English, but also, your broader goals in life.
And I think it's fair to say, if you're listening to this tackling C1 English, you're already demonstrating these qualities. You wouldn't be here otherwise.
Absolutely. You've already put in serious effort. So our mission today isn't just stating the obvious.
Yeah.
It's more about digging into why these things, strength, hard work, success, are so fundamental, how they really impact advanced language learning.
And crucially, how you can consciously sharpen them to keep progressing in English and, in life.
We'll be pulling insights from this article, The Unbreakable Trinity, and sharing some practical ideas and stories, too. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's dive in.
Okay. So the article starts with strength, and it defines it pretty broadly, right? Not just physical stuff.
Not at all. It's talking about inner fortitude, that mental, that emotional resilience you need to face challenges and, keep going when things get tough.
Right. Like staying calm under pressure. Work deadlines, maybe personal stuff, or even exams.
Exactly. And learning from mistakes, too. Seeing failure as data, basically, not as the end of the road.
Which is so important.
Yeah.
And adapting to change, sticking to your values, it's all a part of that inner strength.
Absolutely. It's foundational for navigating life's complexities.
So how does this connect directly to learning English at the C1 level? That's often where people hit a wall, isn't it?
It really is. The article points straight at that C1 plateau, that feeling of, am I even getting better anymore?
Yeah, that frustration.
And strength is what helps you push through that. It's having the mental energy to tackle really complex text or fast conversations without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Deconstructing long sentences, trying to figure out implied meanings.
Yes. And not being afraid to say, hang on, could you clarify that? When you miss something in a conversation, that takes a certain kind of strength, too. Resisting that urge to just nod along.
Mm-hmm. And what about feedback? Getting corrected at this level can sting sometimes.
It really can. But strength here means seeing feedback as a tool, something constructive, not criticism. It's about having the resilience to take it on board and actually, use it.
That's a big one. The article mentions a story, Alina, a refugee from Syria. Her experience really highlights this, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Alina's story is incredibly powerful. For her, English wasn't just academic. It was, like she said, a lifeline.
A lifeline.
Yeah. Think about the inner strength needed to go from very basic English all the way to C1 while rebuilding her entire life in a new place. Dealing with the B2 plateau everyone hits.
Which is hard enough without those extra pressures.
Exactly. Her perseverance, using English to connect, to work, to, live, that's inner strength driving language learning in a really profound way.
Truly inspiring. So the article gives some practical tips then for us C1 learners to build this kind of linguistic muscle.
It does. A key one is actively seeking out challenging stuff. Don't just stick to what's comfortable.
Like what kind of materials?
Academic papers, maybe some highbrow literature, podcasts with really fast idiomatic speech, things that make you work a bit harder. It builds that linguistic resilience.
Okay, like weightlifting for your brain.
Sort of. And this idea of active failure recovery, don't just notice a mistake, analyze it. Why did I say that? What's the pattern?
Turning errors into insights. I like that.
Yeah. And developing skills like circumlocution, talking around a word you don't know, and paraphrasing. Those show real linguistic flexibility and strength.
Being able to keep the conversation flowing, even if you blank on a word.
Precisely. And things like high-stakes practice role-playing, job interviews, giving presentations in English, they build your confidence under pressure.
And that growth mindset towards feedback we mentioned, seeing it as fuel.
Absolutely essential. Okay, so that's strength. Shall we move on to the next part of the Trinity? Hard work.
Let's do it. Hard work. The article defines this as consistent, focused effort, right?
Okay.
The thing that turns potential into actual skill.
Exactly. It's about discipline, dedication, sticking with it even when it's difficult or, frankly, a bit boring sometimes.
We all know that feeling.
Yeah.
And the article makes the point that hard work isn't just hours logged. It's about the quality of the effort.
Definitely. It's how you develop complex skills, how you can sometimes even outperform someone with maybe more natural talent through sheer deliberate practice.
Right. It builds momentum and earns you credibility too. So at the C1 level, what does this kind of hard work actually look like? It's different from beginner stages, surely.
It is quite different. You probably have a good grasp of grammar, a decent vocabulary.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So the hard work shifts. It's moving from just recognizing language passively to actively producing it, speaking and writing accurately, fluently, appropriately.
Okay, so less about learning rules, more about applying them consistently.
Exactly. And the article mentions something really specific here, mastering super segmental features.
Super segmental. Okay, what does that cover?
It's the stuff beyond just the individual sounds. So pronunciation, yes, but also rhythm, stress, intonation, the music of the language.
Okay. How your voice goes up and down, where you put the emphasis.
Precisely. Think about how changing the intonation on really can make it a question or sound sarcastic or surprised. Nailing those nuances, that takes dedicated hard work at C1, hours of listening, imitating, maybe even recording yourself.
That makes sense. It's subtle, but makes a huge difference to sounding natural and conveying the right meaning. What else constitutes hard work here?
Vocabulary, but not just memorizing lists. It's systematic expansion and activation.
Activation,
Meaning actually using the words, understanding their collocations, which words they naturally go with their connotations, the subtle differences in meaning. Taking a new word and actively trying to use it in sentences in different situations. That's the hard graft.
Going deep, not just wide.
Exactly. And fighting language attrition. Use it or lose it. Even at C1, you need consistent effort to maintain and sharpen your skills.
That's a sobering reminder. It never really ends. The article shares another story here, Kenji, the salaryman from Japan. How does his experience illustrate this hard work?
Kenji's story is all about that relentless consistency, fitting focused study into a really busy life.
For work, commute, lunch breaks.
Yeah, finding those pockets of time day after day for 2 years. It wasn't about huge blocks of study occasionally. It was that steady daily grind.
Discipline.
Total discipline. And he focused his effort to business English, negotiation phrases targeting his specific needs. That's deliberate hard work paying off in his career.
It shows what's possible with that focused consistency.
Yeah.
So what practical tips does the article offer for C1 learners to work hard effectively?
Well, deliberate practice is central. Identify your specific weak spots. Maybe it's articles, maybe specific phrasal verbs, maybe intonation patterns, and then really drill down on those. Targeted exercises, getting specific feedback, not just general conversation practice, but focused effort on the things you find hardest.
Makes sense. Treat it like training for a specific skill.
Exactly. And time blocking, literally scheduling your English practice like an important meeting. That helps build consistency.
Putting it in the calendar.
Yeah. Also, that idea of going deep with vocabulary. Better to really master fewer words, understand their nuances, how to use them flexibly, than to vaguely know lots of words.
Quality over quantity.
Definitely. And the article suggests transcribing short clips of native speakers, listening intently, writing it down, analyzing how they phrase things, their rhythm.
Ooh, that sounds challenging but potentially really useful. Like becoming a language detective.
That's exactly the phrase used. Being a language detective, figuring out the why behind complex sentences or idioms, not just memorizing. It's harder work, but it builds much deeper understanding.
Right. Okay, so we've covered strength and hard work. That brings us to the third part of the Trinity. Success. Which, as the article notes, means different things to different people.
Hugely different. For one person, it might be landing a specific job that requires English. For another, it might be confidently debating complex topics or just enjoying foreign films without subtitle.
Personal fulfillment, professional achievement. It varies.
But the key point the article makes is that having your definition of success, whatever it is, acts as a really powerful motivator. It's the why behind the strength and the hard work.
The fuel for the engine. And why does striving for success matter generally, according to the source?
Well, it connects to realizing your potential, making an impact, maybe inspiring others. It gives direction and purpose to all that effort. It's about growth and contribution.
So bring it back to C1 English learners. How does success typically manifest for someone at this level? The article seems to link it strongly to wider life goals.
Often, yes. Success might look like being able to walk into any meeting or presentation and communicate complex ideas effortlessly, persuasively.
Holding your own in demanding situations.
Exactly. Or it could be about deeper cultural connection, reading challenging literature, understanding nuanced humor, really engaging with intellectual discussions in English.
Unlocking those richer experiences.
And of course, the very tangible benefits. unlocking doors to better jobs, getting into top universities, publishing research internationally. C1 English can be a key to those opportunities.
And there's also just that feeling of personal empowerment, isn't there? Being able to navigate the global scene confidently.
Absolutely. That confidence boost is huge. It's a success in itself.
The article mentions Dr. Aisha, a scientist from Nigeria. How does her story fit into this idea of success?
Dr. Aisha's story is a brilliant example of C1 English being the catalyst for achieving wider professional success and impact. Her success wasn't just doing the science, it was communicating it effectively to the world. Publishing in top journals, presenting at major conferences that required mastering high-level academic English.
So English was the tool to get her research recognized globally.
Precisely. Her dedication to mastering that specific type of English allowed her work on important health issues to have a much bigger impact. Her language skills directly enabled her broader professional success.
A really clear link between language mastery and achieving life ambitions.
Okay, so what final tips does the article offer for C1 learners to actually achieve their version of English success?
One powerful suggestion is to define your personal English success statement. Get really clear and specific about what success looks like for you. What will you be able to do?
Having that clear target.
Exactly. Then, actively seek high-impact opportunities to use your English. Don't just practice in safe environments. Volunteer for a project. Give that presentation. Join that international committee.
Push yourself into real-world use. Yes. And strategic networking, connecting with proficient speakers in your field. It provides practice, insights, potential opportunities.
Building connections through the language.
Right. And the article also mentions practicing improvisational speaking.
Yeah. Why is that particularly helpful at this stage?
Because it builds genuine fluency and adaptability. Thinking on your feet, responding spontaneously, not relying on prepared scripts. That's a hallmark of true C1 competence. It builds that effortless feel.
Getting comfortable with the unpredictable nature of real conversation.
Exactly. And finally, simple but important. Document and celebrate your milestones. Acknowledge how far you've come. It keeps motivation high.
Recognizing the progress along the way. Good advice. So wrapping this up, the main takeaway seems to be this incredibly tight weave between strength, hard work, and success.
They really are interconnected. You need the strength to sustain the hard work, and the hard work, guided by a vision of success, is what leads to achieving it. It's a cycle.
And as we said at the start, if you're engaging with C1 English, you're already living this to some extent.
Absolutely. You've already shown you have these qualities. The idea now is perhaps to be more conscious, more deliberate in how you apply them.
Leaning into that inner strength when you hit a tough patch.
Yes. Channeling your hard work into the most effective, deliberate practice.
Right.
And keeping your personal definition of success clearly in view to keep you motivated.
Viewing C1 English not just as an exam level, but as a really powerful tool for a richer life.
That sums it up perfectly. It equips you to engage more fully, to achieve more of what you want to achieve.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. How are you going to consciously leverage these three elements? Strength, hard work, your vision of success for whatever your next goal is, whether it's in English or something else entirely.
Because that confident voice you're working towards, that ability to express yourself fully in the world, it's waiting for you to fully unleash it.
A great place to leave it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.